Welcome. I'm so glad that you can join me here today after the intermission. When nothing outside of the self exists, then nothing can push it over, nor throw it off from its center. In this world, there are no fences and no keys required. Yet, where the self-expression is freely coexisting in a high-powered environment and with no boundaries, it can become somewhat overwhelming. And for this reason, the need to still the mind. And with that said, welcome to lesson 154, that you can find a moment of silence to still your mind, open your heart, and breathe. Deeply and freely. Come online. And with that said, the Sovereign Light, a course in metaphysical spirituality, affirmation and activation for the day. I feel free to express my values when needed, and it is completely safe to love who I am. And just breathe that in for a moment and let it sink in. I feel free to self-express my values when needed, and is completely safe that I love who I am. I feel free to express my values when needed, and it is completely safe to love who I am. I feel free to express my values when needed, and it is completely safe to love who I am. When there's no fear that threatens with loss to prove the better or for worse states of being, the ego has forever split away into another understanding. The light is the only power there is, and with this light, the world cannot go missing. When the many of this world can reconnect, and as the self has, to its inner strength, the sovereign light is the only connection of power and the gateway in to this intelligent infinity. The trust is at the level of surrender, and to what extent it can be found, this center of being wide open with no filters from the ego mind to impose with fear and weight on value for the loss to justify its worth. I feel free to express my values when needed, and it is completely safe to love who I am. Today, the work is on removing separation from all relationships of social conditioning, friends, family, and other such tribes, and to see how it can be made possible to fathom no boundaries to defend with. Look at the underneath. Look at the underneath to what they represent, and study the perspectives they have held to truly find the meaning of freedom rather than the responsibility it brings. After the morning, practice to find peace. Once you come online and start the new day, put this into practice, and within the exchange of every interaction, see how it can be found with great reverence. And take a quarter of an hour perhaps, doesn't have to be timed in that linear perspective. And in the evening perhaps, to work with these emotional experiences that were encountered throughout your day. And during the day, study the behaviors of the many that the self must interact with, including your own. The focus is on trust and to release the need to control from territorial invasions, because nothing outside of the self exists that can be conquered. So the purpose for this lesson is to learn to respect without boundaries and love without conditions. And with that said, I will leave you with these words, this affirmation, activation to trigger you throughout the day and see what your experience might be and what you get and what you can work through and release and let rise to the surface. How do you feel? Now let that be the indices of leverage. And with that, your frequency, you vibrate. I feel free to express my values when needed. It is completely safe to love who I am. I feel free to express my values when needed. And it is completely safe to love who I am. I feel free to express my values when needed. And it is completely safe to love who I am. Thank you so very much for your presence and participation. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next lesson. Please join me. And with that said, my name is Reverend Maria Arvanitidis, and I've been honored to share this experience with you.